This is Justin AMZN on Tuesday, September 4th, 2018. And looking at the pre-market, made a new all-time high at 2036. And then it pulled back right into the line here. Pulled back here and then stayed above, pulled back into just above Friday's aftermarket. And then rallied up into previous all-time high, pulled back a little bit, and then actually broke out above it right before in the previous 5 minutes to open. And it almost would have been better had this waited till the actual market open. But when it does do, because this is opening above Friday's candle and above Thursday's candle, and Friday's candle was bullish, this makes this a bullish retest gap. So opening right here would not be as strong of an open above yesterday and would not have been above Thursday. So kind of would have been in the wicks and would have been maybe a little bit unsure of what's actually going to happen. But this being clearing the high means that, if we're going to open up here, means we're clearing the high, and that's clearly a bullish retest. For being a retest, we're going to look for a pullback. And I've got my eye on this triangle, higher lows, and then from over here and right here, lower highs, a little bit of breakout here, or something where we're coming back into this range, and especially coming back into 2005 that held a support here, here, here. If we can pull that far back and then bounce, that's the support here that I'm expecting to hold. And so let's get into the day and take a look at the other thing is this looks like a double bottom, kind of leaning to this side, being larger, or it could be an ascending triangle with two lower edges here and then a breakout, and you want to look for retest. That could still work. But really, it's an all-time high. It's opening at an all-time high. I really expect this thing to pull back some, especially after having this rest, and it's a bullish retest gap. Let's pull back a little bit and get back to this level, get down to, I guess, right where this was here, get down to the support. I would prefer the support. I get the support. I prefer past the pre-market. There wasn't really a clear level on Friday, and there's not really, sort of in here, but what's actually going on here? I guess this is a retest of that breakdown. So maybe that's close, 2018. This year's number also. So let's look for a pullback into ideally 2005 and then 2018 and then let's say 2021, something like that. Those are where we're looking for it to pull back and buy. So we step into the day, very first candle pulls back, and it's bouncing 2021. It's bouncing off that. We have a almost shaved top bearish candle to open, which is really good for a bearish retest. But there's a lot of buyers, and they pretty much a lot of sellers, and they pretty much just sold at the open, which means anybody who's ever bought is now profitable, or any of the bears, if they were setting a stop and had a stop up above this previous all-time high, they may have just been stopped out, and so they'd be buying back. People were definitely buying here, buying it back up. I guess this is this level with this high wave indecision candle. Now we're above that, so it's making a decision that we're going to stay above. Just like this made the decision to break down, now it's making a decision to stay above. Next candle, huge candle, not huge, but $8, $9 something candle. Breaking down from this, had these two candles. So that's the other thing. If these two candles, the high 2027 high 2027.05. Had these been during the day at a resistance with the same top or same high, and this is 5 cents off, it's all practical purposes the same high. This would be a very clear tweezer top. And to play that, you either get in on a breakdown with a stop above, or you wait for a curve, an S curve, to come back up into this level a little more, into this wick, and then roll over. And in this case, it kind of just ran. We'd have to look at a short time frame and figure out what exactly it did. But now we're down at 2016. So we moved past the 2018. Now it's like, okay, let's get down to 5 and see, can we come back to this and hold it, and it'll do it really strong, and maybe it'll run back up to 2025, near maybe the high of the day. So we get this much larger candle right here. It's a bearish candle. It's very indecisive, very high wave. It's got decent volume. It's actually got increasing volume from the previous 5 minute. And yesterday, we saw that with much lower level, where we actually climbed in volume. But that was a bullish candle, and that was about 70,000 shares. This one is 124,000 shares. Very indecisive. If anybody's buying pre-market, they just got stopped out here. If anybody's still holding for a trade, anything you're in with this option, if you're holding on any sort of trade, I'm thinking options, and there's some premium pulling out of this right here. This low, I'm looking for this low or this buy. I guess the highs in here, and that sort of corresponds to this bearish candle, which is probably the only other similar length candle that we've got on the screen right now. So it's interesting that this started at, 2016 and change. So what's the range on that? Oh, this one, 10, about 1072. This one, the range is 948. So almost, it's the only other comparable single 5 minute candle. Say for maybe this one, try to measure real quick. So there you go, 767. So anyway, right here, could have had a setup to pull back a little bit more. Look at that. Let's even hold those after hours. Pull back a little bit more. But once you get this candle, this is a great candle to get in bullish above, stop below, and just let it run back up to the all-time high, and then some, and oops, sorry about that. There we go. So let's go to the next candle. Now this candle, it may have actually triggered some pain. It just wicked up a little bit, came back down. But if anybody was just setting up a trade to get it above it, maybe they got triggered in, stop below. There we keep going. We see it actually just rallies really hard. Now it's making all-time highs. All-time highs. Okay, good. We're resting. We should pull back into 2025. But right here, it's like, okay, we've consolidated. We're going sideways. Pennant, stair step, whatever. I mean, stair step usually is about the same size. They're actually getting progressively smaller for like over half an hour. And then it starts to break out and continues on up. That's your first signal. That bearish candle is your first signal that something's going to change. And then we pull back slightly. The tops on these are, is that 8 cents apart? My eyes keep jumping. My eyes are tired. Yeah, sorry, about 8 cents off that. That's kind of your first signal. This looks like a evening star reversal, but actually had a little more oomph to it. Up a little bit higher. It's like, okay, some small candles here, more sideways to up. There's 5 candles where before we made 3, made huge. Now we had 5 and made huge. The angle changed. It was up. Now it's still up, but it was practically straight up for all intents and purposes. Then it's angled. now it's like, okay, well, flatten out. And so this is a great place to start looking for a trade where you can go bearish below something and stop above it. Pretty soon it actually did finally break out again, and it's at 20.50, 50 cents. And we've got another bearish candle, at a consolidation that had kind of a false breakout. So way up here, 2050. I really like the number 2050. I really like the number 1990. And then this 2025, I kind of want to move it back to right on 2025, just because it's such a round number to use. And also great option prices to use, 2025, 2050, as long as you know what you're really getting into and what it's going to mean, how it's going to move. So it's something that we're going over here. So from this setup, it looks like, okay, there's some bearishness coming in. We've run up like crazy. If it's going to break down, if it's going to break out, it's got to do it now. If it doesn't, then it could just kind of slowly curve over and go down. And so we'll take a look at the next candle, and it actually went down huge, went down very quickly. Would have been really challenging to do this candle, other than if you're looking down here to get into a 2050, because that's far enough for a Monday or for a Tuesday, from the value down here. It's only about $40 away, so there is the potential it could get there, and it ends up getting there. So it started to break down quickly. Get this candle forming. It's like, oh, great, another indecision candle. Maybe we'll bounce, and it's bouncing, looking like it's bouncing right here above 23.6, the pre-market high. And so it's kind of a key place for it to slow down. But then it breaks down, goes sideways some more. This is a great consolidation, just like this one with similar highs that were consolidating. This has similar highs or consolidating, getting sideways here. Now, these two candles, to me, look like some pressure building. It's like, okay, this either needs to start to run higher, or it's going to break down completely, come back down to 2025, 26, something like that. There's some other levels in here. And so that's actually what it does very quickly. And the only things you got are setting up a trade, like, okay, stop up here, enter down here. What is 2R? What is 3, 4, 5? However many R that would have been to get that breakdown, just like how many R to get that bullish breakout. This is a bearish retest, or a bearish breakdown. And what's really interesting is, because this line, we're actually at a really good support. It moved very quickly. So again, use caution and reciprocal size NR, to see what we could do to manage a trade on this. And right now it's just like, okay, we're back down. It's like, what's this going to work? Or sorry, what's going to happen with the trade? How is it going to work with the options? What are we in? What how much is it in value? And this pullback right here, this is a great opportunity to buy, get back into calls if you were in down here. So this is an inside candle, but a pretty big one, similar range to what we saw this candle do, and then consolidate. So if we get some consolidation in here, that'd be a great place for it to just pause, and we do. So same level, literally the same level as right here earlier in the day. We get 20-minute stair step. And if you're not in down here off of that level, you got to be in here. And I'll show you the options that this did, and then how high it's going to go. And that's what's next. It breaks out, comes right back up, throws an upper wick here. This looks like a reversal candle. You can see a reversal, a little bit smaller, but right at this previous indecision. And it's like, anytime we put in a value like this, it's come back to it. It's looking at it. People are trading back up to it. Like, okay, maybe get a second chance of this, but usually I think it's just roll over. So we got a little bit more of a breakout, and we actually get not quite to the all-time high up here at 20.50, 50 cents, but where we broke down to, we were tested a really good range here. And we just retested kind of that breakdown. So here's another AMZN reversal. You can get it with a trigger below, stop above. It's a little bit wide. do options, but it kind of does a double top and then breaks down, but then just kind of goes back to going sideways. And so in here, this again would have been a hard one to trade other than this is retesting this level, this breakout. But otherwise, it's just kind of trending up, not really many signals, and it's just kind of slowly going. And then this is a little bit of a decline where we had some indecision candles that really just allowed to break down right here. Didn't continue higher, but broke down, and so just off these small candles that someone's losing now if they bought there. People were buying on the bullish one. People were buying because of their wick. Now they got to get out. Or if they're not out and they're tightening. But anyway, depending on what option where you're at, could be out. So if we jump over some options, that was the day. Sorry. So if you go back into options, I'm going to try something I haven't done a little bit on this. We'll look at, I have to do it here. Charts, scan. Restore cell. There you go. Okay. So knowing that's a bullish retest gap, seeing this, sorry, type line down. There you go. That's set up right. And then, okay. There's that chart. There's that chart. Okay. I'm going to try and match up cursors. Here we go. All right. So here's the pullback. Here's the 2050 call on that candle. The range on that, candle says 855 by 755. So a little more than $100, a little more than our risk. But that's something I probably would do if it happens so quickly in the market. Get in bullish, stop below, be a little bit more than $100 R. But it just totally rallied, came back, retested this point, rallied again, and then eventually lost its steam, whatever, and just kind of petered out very quickly. Pull back, and now it's sort of this point of the day it's kind of recovering, and some traders could have taken this. Going bullish here by here and got out, pretty much near this wick, but making a decent wrap with that. But let me skip over to something else as this is running up, and you're seeing things happen here. So this candle, 2090, corresponds with the put, the 2025 put on the right over here. So this is. The range on this is 10.05 and 950. Much easier to trade that bullish than it was to we're trying to get filled at another level. So in here, just like in here, you could have something set up to get in, like be a little bit wide. So you could do what was the high and what was the close or high and the low. So 855 by 755. So, it's feasible, but it's using up a little bit more of an R. And so, had you gotten into that would have been, 10R trade up to here, had you gotten out up here. And then because this looks such a strong reversal, you can be looking at puts this far out and wait for it to actually pause again and then start to break down. And this is where it started to break down. You can see very clearly the coordinates line up to show you where it's actually at on the chart or on the option chart. So this is starting to rally here, sideways still. It's this stair step. Why is the cursor now? Stair step has to do with this. And then breaks out as this breaks down, comes right into this level. Should have had an order out to get out right here at 1650, maybe, 1650, probably good. And there was a really nice rally up here. And then one more as this bounces here. Or no, that was it. Bullish here, bearish here, bullish here. There you go. Really simple. Just trading the stock and see how the price moves in the option. And this could have been something where you could have made like 13R and then I think it was 10R and then another 7R or something like that. I don't think I have this quite right. But if you had maxed out, your risk at the right places and, trust yourself to go, and that's always tough to make sure you're in the right mindset. So, yeah, I think that was about all I wanted to go over. This is bullish retest. It's a lot in a row here where we haven't touched the 10. So it'd be great if we could. And then if we do, we'd probably come down, maybe hang out the 10 and then bounce. That's, it's possible. As for this chart, hang on. Where'd it go? Next, there we go. We're all-time high. We're consolidating. This trail is kind of continued. This one is still there. And it just looks like it needs a little more rest, and then it'll pop again, just like this was. And so it could really happen. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. But during the day-to-day and pre-market, it's at an all-time high. And switch over to the daily. Never been higher than this. It's really hard to see if there's any space below that candle. And space below this candle and this wick. But it's apparently there and had a really nice retest into this range and then just ran up. And so very small move on the daily, but huge move on the options to be able to, get the right risk here or look for values. And even this, and you missed this one, gotten in, like 11 by 10. And that made a couple of R. Probably would have been exiting somewhere in this range from this upper wick. So before, I'm sorry, 1450, something like that, 15, something in there, be a target. So maybe if you got in at, let's see, you got in at 9, it goes up to, even here, if it goes up to, where's the price? Let's say 16, no, 16's up here, 15. I'm trying to figure out where. So it was 9 by 8, or 11 by 10. And that would have just totally broken out. And then where would have been a good place to get out? That would be probably 1450. Maybe if you want to be real conservative, you're out at maybe just 14. You miss out on a little bit of this, but it's just chop. And then starts to roll over again, doesn't, roll over again, doesn't. So the big moves were these. I was looking at this when it was in here, and it's like, this looks like it could rally, it could break up, but this bearish candle looks so strong after that kind of run. Like, this was the move to be in on. This was not. It would have been really difficult to set this up because it moved so quickly, and there was some more opportunity to move this one and do this bullish. So bullish, bearish, bullish, be able to switch off between the calls and the puts, and just build up a lot of hours with that kind of trade because it's so easy to do, and it's some days work better than others. But this being a Tuesday back, on the daily, it looked like there was going to consolidate, and there might be stuff we pull back into, but in this case, it just kind of broke out, retested some, but mostly into some more patterns here. It's weird. Why is that showing up like that? I don't know. Anyway, probably because I would use my charts for something else. So this is just a phenomenal move that went up to 2050, back down to 2025, and we'll see what ends up happening tomorrow. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to get to these earlier. The internet's been a little spotty where I'm at, and so I'm just doing my normal routine, and it's late and I'm tired, and I think that's it for tonight. Hope you enjoyed the video. This is just AMZN. Thanks.